Hey, this is Mike Addis. Thanks for joining us. It's always our pleasure to bring you these videos. So, someone asked a question about asset recovery and they wanted me to explain asset recovery on a comment. That's not possible. I mean, it's taken me 30 years to learn asset recovery, and what exactly it is, I'll tell you in a moment. But if you saw Asset Recovery 1, which should be published today, then you get a better idea what asset recovery is. So for me, everything is asset recovery. For Warren Buffett, for example, he calls it, I'm buying an undervalued asset. It's the same thing. It's just terminology. So Warren Buffett goes in and he says, wow, I want to buy Apple computer. It's like really cheap. I think he bought it at $174. It went to $500 a share and it split 4 for 1. Now he owns almost, 6% of Apple computer. What's the difference between asset recovery and undervalued asset purchasing? Asset recovery is I'm going to take the asset, I'm going to turn it into cash. He's going to buy the undervalued asset and he's going to hold it and make money off of the business. It continues to make money for him and it goes up in value. I'm in the business of always going to cash. Now, I own assets too that produce income, like real estate and publicly traded companies and things like that. But in this particular case, in this particular business called asset recovery, someone needs to sell something that they don't want, which is almost everybody. Almost everyone has something that they don't want. Like I say in the beginning, look in your house, there's a lot of stuff you have. These are assets, could be books, could be computers, could be coffee cups, could be an envelope. Well, not the envelope, but could be a coffee container. Could be coffee cups. I know a guy did that 10,000 coffee cups they had to sell. This one has a chip in it, so doesn't have much value. But these are assets. Asset is something you own. Liability is something that you owe. Simple, basic accounting terminology. So you have to find people that have assets in a quantity and a category that they don't want it. I usually focus on a niche category called mobile devices, and that would be cell phones or computer tablets. And I only deal in big brand name. Real estate is an asset too, and people like builders, like Meritage. I did a real estate deal with Meritage many years ago. Bought many houses for millions and millions and millions of dollars. That was an asset recovery because they had certain properties that they wanted to get rid of. They wanted to get them off their books because they were finished with a particular community they wanted to move on. One transaction, I bought the property for $450,000. It had a $750,000 valuation. I ended up selling the property and netting after all commissions and fees and everything. I talk about this in one of my books, Mike Addis, and you can go to Mike Addis at Amazon.com and look at one of the books that's free. How to Get Rich Making Money from Home, 2nd edition. So in that particular transaction was a real estate asset recovery. They had an asset they didn't want called a piece of real estate. It was a model home. It was sitting on the fairway at a TPC, Tournament Players Cup, at one of the golf courses in Austin, Texas. I went in, negotiated, and knew the salesman. I know they wanted to get it off the books. It was the last property they owned in this big, beautiful community. It was a golf community, all high-priced homes. And they were willing to sell it to me way below the value. Why? Well, because the cost on the books was only at $450,000. Builders don't sell properties at market value. They usually look at their cost factor. That's why the gentleman that asked me the question, or lady that asked me the question about teach me the asset recovery business, it could take me 1,000 hours to teach you just real estate. So it's impossible to explain it just on one video. But in the future, we'll have maybe webinars. I assume that we will have webinars. So I'll just focus on one thing, like how do you do asset recovery and how do you make money in real estate? I mean, really make money, not these generalized, give me your money and I'm going to make you money. You don't want to do that. You want to do your own transactions. And I can tell you how to make money in an asset recovery deal where the seller or the builder wants to sell you a property and I sell the property simultaneously. So as soon as I sell the property, as soon as I buy the property is sold in that minute. And I just need financing, debt, for like 5 minutes. That's all I need the debt for. That's why I'm doing the videos with the other gentleman, I can't remember his name. The big debt guy, his name will come to me, I don't remember. He's always talking about don't have debt. You can have debt for 5 minutes for $1 million. For $5 million, you have debt for 5 minutes and you simultaneously close. It happens all the time. Wall Street does it all the time. So once again, let's get back to asset recovery. I want to keep this a very short video. Asset recovery, and this is Asset Recovery 2, the second video, is getting an asset that someone has, usually in the form of inventory, could be real estate inventory, could be anything, could be cars, computers, think of something, could be toys, could be candy, could be food, Could be canned food. It doesn't matter what it is. Then I want to decide what the valuation is. In real estate, you need an appraiser. I had a great appraiser. So in this particular transaction with Meritage, I valued the house with the appraiser, quality appraiser. Banks determine what values are, not individuals like you and me, buyers and sellers. We don't decide. The bank decides because that bank is going to loan you the dough. You with me on that? Then I buy the property and sell the property. I can do it in 5 minutes, or in this particular case, I held it for 6 months, and then I sold it off at a higher price. I ended up selling it at $850. After commissions and fees and everything was paid off, I ended up netting about $150,000, $150,000 to $160,000. So Mike Addis, thanks for joining us. Oh no, time is running out. So that's the answer on asset recovery. Hope you got something out of asset recovery too. I'll do 10 asset recovery transactions before we close this topic out. It's hundreds of hours worth of discussion. And you can go through each category. You can go through consumer electronics, you can go through apparel, like athletic footwear. We can do real estate transactions, computers. These are all different markets and niche markets. And then you get inside the market and you can niche it down even more. So you can do athletic footwear, only do Michael Jordan, or only do Nike. That's a niche. Or only do Addis. I know guys that are in the computer asset recovery business, they only do Microsoft Surfaces. That's it. They only handle Microsoft. They don't do Dell or Apple, any of this. Mike Addis, thanks for joining us again on this video. We appreciate it if you hit the subscriber button, because we want you to subscribe. We want to keep this information coming. We're doing videos almost every day. We may not publish them every day because they have to be edited. But we're going to constantly bring you more and more information. Go to the comments section, ask us comments. We will communicate with you back and forth. I guess we could do it through email. Go to addismike.com. That's our blog page. We have a new web page opening up. It's Maddis, M-A-D-D-I-S, cash. Maddis, which is Mike Addis, so it's M-Addis, A-D-D-I-S, cash, C-A-S-H, one of my favorite words, .com. And you can ask us through emails, and I will answer those emails. This is Mike Addis again. Thanks for joining us on this Asset Recovery 2 video. See you on the next video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button.